Do you dare to try these weird foods? Here are 10 of the strangest dishes you should try. We're about to go on a wild culinary adventure, exploring some of the most unusual and fascinating foods from around the globe. Get ready to be surprised, maybe even a little grossed out, but most importantly, intrigued by the diverse and delicious world of food. All right, food adventurers, let's kick things off in Iceland with hakal. When you think of Icelandic cuisine, you might picture pristine seafood, fresh from the North Atlantic. Well, hakal takes a slightly different approach. We're talking about fermented shark, my friends. Not just any shark, but the Greenland shark, a beast that doesn't have a urinary tract. That means its flesh is loaded with ammonia and uric acid. To make hakal, the shark meat is buried underground for weeks, sometimes months, to ferment and detoxify. This process gives hakal its signature pungent aroma, often compared to cleaning products. Once it's done fermenting, the hakal is dug up, cut into cubes, and served. It has a strong, fishy, and dare I say cheesy flavor. The texture is quite chewy, almost rubbery. It's definitely an acquired taste. It's a traditional Icelandic delicacy, and I can appreciate the cultural significance. Plus, it's a testament to human ingenuity in finding ways to preserve and make food edible in harsh environments. Next up, we're heading to the Philippines for a taste of balut. Balut is a fertilized duck egg that's incubated for about 14 to 21 days, allowing the embryo to develop inside. Yes, you heard that right. We're talking about a partially developed duckling in an egg. Balut is a popular street food in the Philippines, often enjoyed as a snack or even a meal. It's typically boiled or steamed and eaten directly from the shell. You can season it with salt, vinegar, or chili, depending on your preference. The broth inside the egg has a savory, slightly salty flavor. The yolk is rich and creamy, similar to a regular duck egg yolk. The texture can vary depending on how developed it is. The flavor is often described as gamey, similar to duck or chicken. Balut is definitely not for the faint of heart, but it's a cultural icon in the Philippines and other parts of Southeast Asia. Hold on to your stomachs, folks, because we're about to delve into the world of casu marzu, a cheese from Sardinia, Italy. That's not for the squeamish. This cheese is so intense, it's actually illegal in some places. Why, you ask? Well, it's infested with live maggots. Casu marzu starts as a traditional Sardinian sheep's milk cheese called Pecorino Sardo. The cheesemakers intentionally introduced cheese fly larvae into the cheese. These little critters feast on the cheese, their digestive systems breaking down the fats and proteins, giving casu marzu its unique pungent aroma and incredibly soft, almost oozing texture. The maggots are still alive and wriggling when you eat casu marzu. Some people try to remove them before taking a bite, while others embrace the full experience. It's said to have a very strong, sharp, and ammonia-like flavor. It's a fascinating example of how food traditions can push the boundaries of what we consider edible. Chapter 4. Fugu, the deadly delicacy of Japan. Let's journey to Japan now, where we encounter fugu, a dish that's as risky as it is delicious. Fugu is the Japanese word for pufferfish, a creature known for its deadly toxin, tetrodotoxin. This toxin is found in the fish's organs, especially the liver and ovaries, and it's 1,200 times more poisonous than cyanide. When prepared correctly by highly trained and licensed chefs, fugu is said to be an exquisite delicacy. The fish itself has a delicate, slightly sweet flavor, and the thrill of danger only adds to the allure. Chefs undergo years of rigorous training to learn how to properly remove the toxic organs without contaminating the flesh. Even with these precautions, there have been cases of fugu poisoning, some fatal. Would I be tempted to try fugu? Perhaps, but only from the most reputable chef, and even then with a healthy dose of trepidation. Chapter 5. Surströmming, the Swedish fermented herring that clears a room. Get ready to hold your noses, folks, because we're about to dive into the world of surströmming, a Swedish delicacy that's notorious for its pungent aroma. Surströmming is fermented Baltic Sea herring, and when I say fermented, I mean fermented to the max. The herring is caught in the spring, beheaded and gutted, but the roe is left intact. Then it's salted and fermented in barrels for 1 to 2 months. During this time, the herring ferments, producing gases that cause the cans to bulge. Once the fermentation process is complete, the surströmming is canned, but the fermentation continues inside the can. The smell is often described as a potent mix of rotten eggs, sour milk, and old gym socks. It's so strong that it's recommended to open the cans outdoors, preferably underwater. Despite its pungent aroma, surströmming is considered a delicacy in Sweden. It's typically eaten on thin, crisp bread with potatoes, onions, and sour cream. The taste is said to be salty, sour, and intensely fishy. Chapter 6. Escamoles, insect caviar from Mexico. Let's take our taste buds on a trip to Mexico, where we'll encounter escamoles, a delicacy that's often referred to as insect caviar. Escamoles are the edible larvae and pupae of ants, specifically the velvety tree ant, which makes its home in the roots of the agave plant, the same plant used to make tequila. Harvesting escamoles is no easy feat. It's a seasonal delicacy available only in the spring, and it requires a keen eye and a bit of bravery. Once harvested, escamoles are carefully cleaned and cooked. They have a delicate, slightly nutty flavor and a creamy, buttery texture. They're often sautéed with butter, onions, and herbs and served in tacos, omelets, or as a standalone dish. Chapter 7. Durian, the king of fruits with a pungent personality. Hold your breath, and let's venture into Southeast Asia to encounter durian, a fruit that's as polarizing as it is fascinating. Durian is known as the king of fruits in Southeast Asia, but it's also infamous for its pungent aroma, which has been described as a mix of gym socks, rotten onions, and sewage. The durian fruit itself is large and spiky with a hard outer shell. Inside, you'll find creamy custard-like flesh that ranges in color from pale yellow to bright orange. The aroma is what truly sets durian apart. It's so strong that it's often banned from public transportation and hotels in Southeast Asia. Some people love its rich, sweet, and slightly fermented flavor, while others find it utterly repulsive. If you're brave enough to try durian, be prepared for a sensory overload. The aroma hits you first, then the creamy texture, and finally the complex flavor, which is a mix of sweet, savory, and cheesy, with hints of almond and garlic. Prepare for a culinary adventure that's not for the arachnophobic fried tarantulas. In Cambodia, these eight-legged creatures aren't just a source of fear, they're a popular snack and a delicacy that's been enjoyed for generations. The tarantulas are typically caught in the wild, often by skilled hunters who know where to find them. They're then cleaned and prepared for cooking. The most common way to prepare fried tarantulas is to marinate them in a mixture of soy sauce, garlic, sugar, and chili, then deep fry them until they're crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. The taste of fried tarantulas is often described as being similar to crab or soft-shell crab. The legs are crunchy, while the body has a more delicate texture. The flavor is savory and slightly nutty, with a hint of spice from the marinade. Let's explore the world of fungi with huitlacoche, a delicacy that's often called the Mexican truffle. Huitlacoche is a type of edible fungus that grows on corn. It's a plant pathogen, which means it infects the corn kernels and causes them to swell and develop a grayish-black, mushroom-like appearance. While some farmers might consider huitlacoche a nuisance, in Mexico it's a prized ingredient. It has a rich, earthy, and slightly sweet flavor that's often compared to truffles, mushrooms, or even corn itself. The texture is soft and creamy, almost custardy. Huitlacoche is a versatile ingredient that can be used in a variety of dishes. Our final culinary adventure takes us to China, where we'll encounter the century egg, a delicacy that's been enjoyed for centuries. Despite its name, the century egg isn't actually a century old. It's a preserved duck, chicken, or quail egg that's been cured in a mixture of clay, ash, salt, quicklime, and rice hulls for several weeks to several months. During the curing process, the egg yolk transforms into a dark green or grey, creamy substance with a strong, pungent aroma and flavor. The egg white turns into a dark brown, translucent jelly with a salty flavor. Century eggs are often eaten as a delicacy or appetizer in China and other parts of Asia. The flavor is rich, complex, and slightly sulfurous with a creamy, custard-like texture. So there you have it, folks. 10 of the weirdest foods from around the globe. Which of these weird foods would you try? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this culinary adventure, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more food explorations. Until next time, keep your taste buds adventurous.